has been a busy offseason for the Lakers. A lot on their plate, re-augmentating the roster, signing up Luca to a big extension, trying to figure out what the LeBron's plans are. So busy offseason for the purple and gold.
Yeah, the question is, did they do enough? Patched up some holes. I still have my doubts, but let's talk about it.
Before we start talking about the Lakers, if you haven't already, make sure to give this video a like, give us a subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on one of our videos. But first, a word from the sponsor of today's video, DraftKings. Guys, it's finally football season. After 7 months of waiting, the NFL regular season is back in full force, and boy, does it feel good. And with pro football finally back, our partners over at DraftKings have got you covered. Right now at DraftKings, new customers bet just $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets and $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Use your $200 on same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout, play game by game, or even play by play, or be that guy who predicts a safety on the first play of the Super Bowl. Whatever fits your style. And if sports betting isn't available in your state yet, don't you worry. You can still get in on the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use our promo code Synthetic and get $200 in bonus bets instantly and $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV when you bet just $5. Once again, that's promo code Synthetic only at DraftKings Sportsbook. And thank you again to DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. So fair to say the Lakers had an eventful 24-25 season. I mean, it could be argued that every Lakers season is eventful just because of who they are, but this was crazy even by their standards. It started out with them getting a brand new coach, landed JJ Redick after having a 6-year, $70 million contract rejected by UConn coach Danny Hurley. And under JJ, they got off to a pretty good start, hovering around the 5th, 6th seed come February 1st. And then we get the most shocking transition in the history of sports. Like at this point for me, it's kind of set in. Like when I see Luca in a Lakers jersey or him, wearing Lakers merch, like it's not like a shock to the system anymore like it used to be, but like the overall shockwaves of this trade I think are just going to be reverberating throughout the league for decades to come. And I will say I bought into the hype. Like Luca came back, played really well, not quite his 23-24 peak, but he still averaged 28 points, 8 boards, 7.5 assists, had that incredible return to Dallas where he scored 45 points. Lakers won 50 games, got the 3rd seed, and like I said, I bought into the hype. I picked them to go to the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I mean the Luka and LeBron pairing looks solid. There was talk about Austin Reeves like being maybe the best 3rd option offensively in the league. The front court was thin, but maybe like you avoid the Nuggets, you avoid the Rockets, you could make your way out west. And then the Timberwolves completely ripped the Lakers apart.
Yeah, I've not been more wrong about basically anything. I'm sure I have, but this is up there in terms of missed predictions.
Yeah, the Wolves, they shredded the Lakers defense on the perimeter and on the interior. We had that shocking game 1 where they go into crypto.com and just destroy them.
We watched that at a friend's house and we were just like jaws on the floor. We were like, what is happening?
It was a great time. They had their chance to get back in the series. I mean, they led game 4 by 10 points going into the 4th quarter, but then they just completely melted down. Anthony Edwards gives the Wolves 16 in the 4th to lead a Minnesota comeback. And that's the game where JJ Redick had the brilliant idea. Let's just play, a 5-man lineup the entire second half. Like I got stamina off on 2K.
To be fair, it worked up to the start of the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
To be fair to JJ, he's a new coach, so learning experience.
Right.
The most embarrassing thing for me, Rudy Gobert goes Shaq on you in game 5 in crypto, 27 points, 24 boards as the Wolves went on the road. Again, JJ's a new coach, but man, playing only one guy taller than 6'9" the entire game, and it's Maxi Kleber who just plays 5 minutes. Like, I know your options up front aren't the best, but again, when Rudy Gobert's looking like Wilt Chamberlain out there, he's just busting your ass on the offensive end. Just get some size down low, man. Like, come on.
So yeah, the hype was there. It was a trendy pick, picking the Lakers with Luka being there, and maybe LeBron could get ring number 5. But in hindsight, like the Timberwolves were the better team. They were the more balanced team. Considering the Lakers made that massive shakeup mid-season, like it makes sense going out in the 1st round, but it was disappointing, of course, to their fans. They're always going to be disappointed because this was record breaking. This was the first time in their franchise history where, as a top 3 seed, they went out in the first round. Like, we're used to the Lakers dominating the playoffs, at least taking care of business. This was not it.
Yeah, I mean, also this is around the time where all like the LeBron songs were on like TikTok or whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And there was the one, I think it was the parody of like, what is it, Grenade by Bruno Mars?
Yeah, Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars, yeah, and it ends with like, you know, bring home that 5th ring. And I just was like, okay, he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
He's gonna fucking do it. And I had egg on my face after this series. So a lot of big questions this offseason for the Lakers. I mean, what does LeBron's long-term future with the team look like? Could Luca get into better shape? Like, what's his long-term future with the Lakers look like? Could they improve the roster, especially the center position? I mean, we didn't even mention it, but they had the whole Mark Williams trade that blew up midseason and kind of wrecked Dalton Connect's confidence. So could you get him back on track? Well, they more or less have addressed all those questions, barring the first one. So we'll just quickly touch on LeBron's future with the team. We made a video about this back in late July, and about a month and a half later, no really new developments. He still doesn't have a contract beyond next season. We haven't gotten any indication that a contract is anywhere on the horizon. I guess he could leave the Lakers in free agency next offseason, but you know, we mentioned this in the video that we made. According to Rich Paul, you know, he still wants to win championships. And outside of like joining Cleveland for the vet minimum, like what team offers a better situation than the Lakers? I mean, maybe the Knicks, yeah, also if he joined them on a vet minimum, but that would require him taking the minimum, which I don't really expect him to do. Even though his future's a bit murky and he may not be over the moon with every decision the Lakers have made, I would be shocked if he finished his career anywhere other than LA.
Yeah, really the biggest question for LeBron going into the season, LeBron the Lakers, is will this be his final year in the NBA? No one knows what LeBron's plans are. Hell, I don't think LeBron knows what his plans are. Realistically, if he wanted to, dude could play in the NBA till he's 45. I might even maintain the stance. If he wanted to ride the bench and do a little bit in the post, he could play till he's 50.
If we get 50-year-old Bron in the NBA, that will be outrageous. I mean, look, he probably won't be an all-NBA player at like, you know, 45 if he's still in the league. People have been saying that for like 5-6 years at this point, though. Maybe he could. I don't know. But, you know, you get a few more chances at another title, and you probably put that scoring record out of reach for like multiple lifetimes, like several hundred years at that point, if the NBA is even still around before someone gets close to breaking that record.
Regarding Luca, though, he did indeed re-sign with the Lakers. Back in early August, he agreed to a 3-year, $165 million max extension. This gives him the option to opt out in 2028 and sign a new deal for 35% of the salary cap, which would come out to a ridiculous 5-year, $417 million contract. We're getting like $500 million deals coming here soon.
Yeah, over $1 million per game.
That is
not too far
crazy.
away.
Like, there were some rumblings that maybe, you know, he could play this year out, then kind of reassess his situation. There's been that long-term rumor that, you know, maybe one day him and Jokic could team up because they're good friends. You know, they're both like European stars, and that'd be a lot of fun to watch. But no, Lakers, they re-signed their guy. So that's one half of the Luka puzzle solved. The other half was, you know, getting him in good physical shape. Dude's never going to be Anthony Edwards. He's never going to be Giannis. He's never going to be looking like Myles Garrett out there.
No.
But to be in the physical shape he's been in for the past few years, like, it's not optimal. I know they made the finals just a couple seasons ago, but the injuries have increased. You can clearly tell he's not in the shape he used to be in. We always say, like, go back and watch Luka in the bubble or watch Luka's rookie season. It's night and day, but, you know, from what we've seen so far, he might be getting back to that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't have traded him like Nico did, but if I ran the Mavs, I probably would have been a little worried about his conditioning too. And like you said, the offseason started with us getting some leaked images of Luka, and look, he did look slimmer. I'll give him that, but again, you know, it's tough to tell with this kind of stuff. You know, camera angles can do a lot for how somebody looks, but then we got the big profile in Men's Health. And again, to be fair to Luka, he looks great in these photos. There's a lot of good stuff in the article about what he's doing, 2-a-day workouts, an improved diet, strength training, like it all sounds good, but we've been fooled by these kind of stories before. Like literally, I was just able to go onto Google and find stories from the 2023 offseason, 2 years ago, talking about, oh, Luka looks skinny. You know, again, same thing, leaked photos from his offseason workouts where he looks leaner and whatnot. And it's the same thing as, oh, the Zion is skinny now stories, or, you know, Ben Simmons' jumper is coming along nicely. Like, we hear about it almost every offseason, and then it just never comes to fruition. Also, Luka's problem apparently has been not so much coming into the season in shape, but staying in shape over the course of the season. For example, last season, he apparently put on more than 12 pounds after suffering that calf injury that kept him out at the start of the season. So far, though, from everything we've been been seeing. Seems like the trade was a big wake-up call. He's actually going to stay committed to being in better shape. I mean, he's looked pretty damn good in Eurobasket so far. Just dropped 42 on the Italians, averaging 34 points a game. But I am still in the I gotta believe it when I see it camp regarding his physical shape.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And then the Lakers, the roster moves they made, I would say pretty good, you know, given the situation. The big one, of course, picking up DeAndre Ayton after he was bought out by the Blazers. I mean, DA, he has some issues as a player. As a first overall pick picked ahead of Luca, he's been a big disappointment. But he's a huge upgrade from what they had, because they had basically fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you had Jackson Hayes and Alex Len, who JJ Redick didn't trust to play like at all.
I was gonna say, two guys that the Lakers valued so much, they played them for a combined 0 minutes in Game 5 against the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
As Gobert was busting their asses.
I do think Lakers fans, like, give it like 18, 20 games, they're gonna be tearing DeAndre Ayton apart.
Oh, there's gonna be some moments where there's gonna be some frustrated tweets from Lake Show, yo. You can write that in stone.
Yeah, but at the very least, like, he's a good fit with Luca. He can catch lobs. Like, he has that mid-range game where he's not necessarily gonna clog the paint. If LeBron needs to drive, you need Luca to drive. So, like I said, he's better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he's a career 16.5 points, 10.5 rebounds per game guy who you're getting for $8 million a year. You could do way worse than that. Some other acquisitions, they pick up Jake LaRavia and Marcus Smart. LaRavia was a first-round pick in 2022 and had a pretty decent 2024 with the Grizzlies once he broke into the rotation. Since then, he's kind of bounced around a little bit. Like, he's a good three-point shooter, never a bad thing to have too many of those. He's a young kid, he's been in the league for a couple years. Maybe he can develop into a rotation piece, right? The Marcus Smart pickup is a little bit of a more interesting one, because if you had said 2 years ago during the 2023 offseason that the Lakers were picking up Marcus Smart, I mean, this was when he was a year removed from being the first guard since Gary Payton to win Defensive Player of the Year, and he was still a solid offensive contributor for the Celtics. We'd have been like, holy shit, like, that's a really solid pickup for the Lakers. But man, he has had a rough last 2 years.
Yeah, he's basically fallen off a cliff. He gets traded to Memphis, barely played in the season and a half he was there. Like, he was decimated by injuries, and even when he was healthy, like, they didn't give him a ton of run. He was then flipped at the trade deadline to the Wizards for Johnny Davis and Marvin Bagley. So in 2 years, dude went from like a key contributor on a contender to being traded for Marvin Bagley.
You can't fall much further than that.
You really can't. So the Lakers, you know, you get Smart for 2 years, $11 million. If he can just be a good defensive guard off the bench, he's going to be worth the money. Like, they needed a good defensive guard because Luca and Austin Reeves both aren't good defensive guards. So if Marcus Smart can even be like half of what he used to be, it's a good pickup just for that.
Yeah, they also did let Dorian Finney-Smith walk to the Rockets in the offseason, and look, kind of hurts to lose him. He was good buddies with Luca from their time with the Mavericks, good three-point shooter, good defender. But if you had kept him, you probably wouldn't have been able to bring in Ayton and LaRavia, and especially, I mean, you needed to bring in a center. Like, it was their number one position.
Yeah,
You needed a solid center. So yeah, sacrificing Finney-Smith for Ayton, probably the right move. So, final thoughts on this team and whether they've done enough. Look, I'm going to take the cop-out answer and just say, I don't know.
Okay.
I've kind of been a bitch right here. I acknowledge it. But what I will say is, I don't know if they've done enough to compete in the West. I think they've done all they could, though. Like, realistically, if you're a Lakers fan, barring just another, like, miracle trade for a superstar, like, pretty spotless offseason, I would say. I like a little more clarity on LeBron's future with the team, but outside of that, Luca looks like he's getting in better shape. You got him locked up for the next couple years. You fill the biggest hole in your roster with a pretty solid pickup in DeAndre Ayton. You get a good, solid defensive guy off the bench in Marcus Smart. JJ Redick's going to be in his second year, so he's going to be better. Luca, in terms of having chemistry with all the guys, second year, he's going to be better. I still think it's weird that they have a higher championship odds than the Nuggets. I think that's kind of stupid, honestly.
That's fucking insane.
I mean, like, the Nuggets are their parent club.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They're better than them, apparently. Like,
no, I'm completely out on that. I think that's crazy. Nuggets, you know, we're going to wait. We're a little bit away, but they might be my title pick. I think the Nuggets are going to be very good, so I think that's insane. Here's the thing. The Lakers, they're looking towards the future. Like, technically, have they done enough to compete, be a contender for next season? I think absolutely not. But at the same time, like, do you really want to send a bunch of future firsts to try to build a contender right now when LeBron's here? When you still have Luca for the next, 3 years, probably even more, probably next like 5-8 years? I wouldn't, but at the same time, like, I don't trust DeAndre Ayton. It's a fine move. Like, I don't have a problem with any of the moves they made, but DeAndre Ayton over the course of a full season, I saw him for 2 seasons. He was a disappointment, no hate to him, but I don't think Lakers fans are going to love him. They don't have the perimeter defenders. Like, they had one in Dorian Finney-Smith, and I understand why they let him walk. They wanted to bring in other guys, but Jake LaRavia, he ain't locking down anyone. Dalton Connect ain't doing that. Jared Vanderbilt hardly ever plays, so I don't have trust in him in the backcourt. I don't think it can defend enough. So are they going to be a contender in the West? To me, absolutely not. Can they be, a competitive team, maybe win a playoff series? I think so. I think it's been a fine offseason, but they're looking towards the future. Like, the LeBron era, it's over. They're not going to trade all their chips just to try to get LeBron that 5th ring. They're thinking towards the future. So I think for now, they're not a contender this season. I just don't see it.
Well, I find that you say absolutely not a little interesting. So what, you think their ceiling is like 2nd round, maybe?
I think their ceiling is like 2nd round.
Really?
Yeah. I really do. I mean, there's the Rockets, there's the Thunder, there's the Nuggets. I think the Warriors are better. There's just so many teams out west that I think are better. Like, realistically, I think they're in the same category as like the Mavericks.
This is weird because, like, I feel like I'm the Lakers hater of the duo. Like, you're the LeBron D-rider, even more so than I am.
Yeah.
And yet I think conference finals is probably their ceiling.
Really?
Like, again, maybe I'm just, huffing the copium and I'm just thinking, like, I'm buying, I see the stars, right? I see Luca and LeBron. I'm just like, man, I think they could do it. It looks appetizing and whatnot, but I as much as like DA drove me crazy at times as a Blazer fan, like, if he's like your 4th option, which realistically he probably is if Austin Reeves is still around.
Yeah.
And maybe they flip Reeves for more defense at the trade deadline. I don't think that's off the table either. Like, I think if things break right for them, and look, they need some things to break right for them, I think this team could realistically compete in the conference finals. Could they win the title? Probably not, but I think conference finals is their ceiling. That's the video, guys. What do you think is the ceiling for the Lakers? I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving it a like, as it really does help us out. And while you're here, why not check out some other videos as well? And don't forget to subscribe to Synthetic Sports.